What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another video, round 2. I had to take 2 because it froze. We're going to be ranking the Mario vs. Donkey Kong games. That's right, I'm still in the Mario vs. Donkey Kong mood, and I wanted to have a Donkey Kong video for March because I'm still trying to do this challenge. Today, we're going to be ranking Mario vs. Donkey Kong. I know they're not technically Donkey Kong games, feel more Mario games, but I thought it'd be fun to rank these. I'm literally one of, like, 4 Donkey Kong fans that is familiar with the Mario vs. Donkey Kong games. Somewhat. So yeah. But, I also wanted to include the arcade games since I was including this Donkey Kong game, Donkey Kong on the Game Boy, which is basically sort of the original games just with more style. And this is technically the one that started the series, even if Nintendo doesn't see it. So, not to cause any controversy, I included the other arcade games too. Because if I was ranking, like, mainline Donkey Kong games, most of these will be on the bottom. I know I did a video on, like, every Donkey Kong game ranked back in 2022, but I'm gonna do a little bit differently since this is the year of Kong, so, yeah. Anyway, let's go and get this started, and yeah, here we go. First off we have is Donkey Kong on the arcade, the one that started it all. This game has definitely hasn't aged the best nowadays, but you can't deny it's one of the most important games to exist. Spawned Donkey Kong, of course, and Mario climbing up buildings and trying to save Pauline. So yeah, while it is aged, I wouldn't mind going back to it, so I think a solid B tier will work for this. Next up we have is Donkey Kong Jr. This is basically takes a different approach. Donkey Kong Jr. is swinging on vines, and this time Mario's the bad guy. He kidnapped Donkey Kong. And basically Donkey Kong Jr. all has to do is save him. It's pretty much 4 levels, although I think I find this one harder in my opinion. I don't know, I'm not very good at Donkey Kong Jr., so that's why I don't really replay this one as much, so. But I say a solid B, I guess. Fine. No, not C. C's a bit harsh, B. Next up we have is Donkey Kong 3, the most forgotten of the arcade ones. And probably for a reason. This doesn't even have Mario in it. It has Stanley the Bugman. And basically, you use him to spray, like, you have to spray, I guess, you just spray to get rid of bugs and push Donkey to the top to move on to different levels. That's it. Definitely a neat concept, but I can see why it's considered forgotten. C tier, it's just okay. Alright, and now we have this one right here. Donkey Kong on the Game Boy. This is by far one of the greatest games, probably my favorite game on the Game Boy. I don't even praise Game Boy games like this, I just love it like that. It's basically the original Donkey Kong arcade game with some new moves, fresh new levels, and new banger soundtrack. Honestly, it's one of my favorite games out there, honestly, and I can definitely say right now, yes, this is a really, really banger type of game. You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and I do this a lot. Because I like to surprise y'all, I guess. I'm putting this in the SS Plus tier. It's easily one of my favorite games of all time. I will replay this at least once a year, honestly. It took me a while for me to play this, and I'm like, oh my god, I get it now. Alright, and now we have the one that actually started it all, this series, Mario vs. Donkey Kong on the GBA. While I prefer 94, I still think this is a banger game, and I don't know why people would, like, tone this game down. This is like it's like Donkey Kong Country 2 exists, because it's considered the best Donkey Kong game. And then, like, or actually, no, a better example, Tropical Freeze, which is considered, like, the best Donkey Kong game to many people, one of the best 3D platforms ever made, but then shitty on Returns because it's different, I guess. That's pretty much what I view this. It's not as bad, thankfully. This game is still memorable in many ways than just the cuts. I don't love this only for just the funny cutscenes, but also just the gameplay is very solid. I love the soundtrack, and I just really, graphically, it definitely hasn't aged. That's one of the things I could say, but other than that, it's a very good game. One of my favorite games on the GBA, so S tier. Technically the one I grew up with, so yeah, didn't play as much, but yeah, I always wanted to try it out, so yeah. Alright, now, Mario vs. Donkey Kong 2, this one. This is where the Lemmings gameplay started, and it isn't really I guess I was technically harsh at the time. It's not as bad as I thought it was, but there's just something about it I just don't really vibe. I don't know, I just kind of don't vibe with it. I did have a lot of memories with this one, but other than that, I don't know, it's not something I would replay often, but it's fine enough Lemmings-wise. This was the return of Pauline at the time, which was neat, so I say it gets a solid enough A tier, I guess. Why not? Alright. I think last time I was a bit too harsh to this. I even replayed it. I was like, okay, maybe it's not so bad. It's just, you know, it's basically a new Super Mario Bros. Effect, basically. Okay, next up is Mario vs. Donkey Kong Mini-Land Mania. This is the one I grew up playing. And I gotta say that, yeah, out of all the Lemmings gameplay style, this is, in my opinion, the best one, honestly. Definitely some decent soundtrack, and the bosses aren't anything too spectacular, but they're pretty solid for the most part. And overall, the controls of the touchscreen, I say this is the best one the series has done. So, I say it gets an above A tier easily. Alright, next up we have is Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Minis March Again. This is that DS iWare game that's super short and you're gonna beat it within like a few hours. That's basically what it is. It's similar to Mario vs. Donkey Kong 2, just shorter. That's it. C tier. Alright, next up we have is Mario and Donkey Kong, Minis on the Move. Not Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Mario and Donkey Kong. Did they go on a... No, I won't say that. But, yeah. This is basically takes a different type of style. I don't know the best way to describe it. It seems like it's the Minis gameplay Lemming style, just in a different perspective. Pretty much what it is. I thought it was a pretty solid time. Didn't finish all of it, but when I played, it's actually pretty solid. Not too bad of a game, but I don't think I'd go back to it personally, so say A tier. Alright, next up, Mario vs. Donkey Kong Tipping Stars. This is one of the worst Mario games of all time. I don't care what people say, honestly. It's Mini-Land Mania, but worse. And this was also released in 2015, which was considered so-called the Dark Age of Nintendo, even though there was Splatoon, so there was that. But, yeah, it's just Mini-Land Mania, just worse. It just doesn't, it's just that they just didn't change anything. It's just that. No bosses, by the way. And also, the cutscenes are done in a PNG slideshow. Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but yeah. Maybe it's not the worst Mario game ever or anything like that, but come on, when you compare it to the other series like Mini-Land Mania, just go play that. It's literally right there. So, yeah. And also, there's Mini Luigi, so I guess Luigi got a time in the spotlight in this series. Not in the best way possible. So, D tier. Easily the worst one in the series. Alright, next up is Mini Mario Friends Amiibo Challenge. This is like an Amiibo exclusive game you could play if you have an Amiibo on the eShop. It has different characters of, like, you know, Mini Mario, Mini Luigi. There was also Mini Bowser, Mini Donkey Kong, obviously. Mini Yoshi, Mini Rosalina. Yes, you can use Rosalina. There was no Mini Wario Waluigi. Was there Diddy Kong? I think there was Diddy Kong, I forgot. But, yeah, it's Amiibo exclusive. And if you didn't have an Amiibo, well, if you can play as a little robot dude, it's just not that exciting. Each character has their own unique abilities that you can play through, and to be honest, I kind of didn't mind it, but sucks it's Amiibo exclusive, though. I would have liked it better if it wasn't Amiibo exclusive, but it's fine enough for what it is, so I guess it's a B tier. Guess better than Tipping Stars, but not by much. If this were going by Nintendo's logic, this would easily be a C tier, but I guess because I have a Donkey Kong and Space Waifu Amiibo, then yeah, B tier. And last but not least, of course, the Mario vs. Donkey Kong Remake. I talked about all my thoughts on the game in the video, but just to summarize it, it's basically the original game, and honestly, it's a pretty good remake, honestly. While it might be on the easy side, I think the difficulty is fine enough if you're only just getting into this type of style gameplay, since most people are probably into the Lemming style. So I think it's fine enough, in my opinion, of the difficulty. And, like, I don't know, there's just so much new worlds, there's 2 new worlds and new levels and stuff. I say this is, content-wise, this is the best version of this game. If we're going for nostalgic sakes, for cutscenes, yeah, original. But I don't know, I've watched the new cutscenes several times, just as much as the original, so it's not really a big deal for me. So yeah, S tier. Alright, and that's the Mario vs. Donkey Kong tier list. Yeah, pretty interesting video, I will say myself. Thank you guys for watching. What's your favorite Mario vs. Donkey Kong game, if you played any of them? I'm the major DK fan that will support this series regardless of its quality, even if it's Tipping Stars. Anyway, bye. Later, folks.